International outrage.
When we approached, we saw the car on fire.
After 7 aid workers are killed in Gaza. Children share their thoughts.
At our age, I think it's very important to have control.
On how a new Florida bill may limit their screen time. And a big catch from the Keys.
Now I'm beginning to think it's not a coincidence. We're on to something really good.
How a local restaurant got its title for best seafood in the country. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Valentina Gaspari.
I'm Jason Herr. Today is Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
Severe weather storming through several states and now eyeing the Northeast. Many in the eastern part of the country are recovering today from devastating storms.
As of this morning, there have been roughly 120 reports of storms across the Ohio and Tennessee River valleys. This includes many tornadoes. Some in Kentucky were left homeless, and officials attempt to aid all who suffered the brunt of the destruction.
One of our next big challenges is to try to mobilize and shelter in place the people who have lost their homes.
Storms are continuing to push east in this moment, with Pennsylvania and surrounding states being in the path. Meanwhile, northern states are preparing for snowy days with blizzard warnings for parts of Michigan and Maine.
Breaking news this morning, rescuers keep searching through the rubbles after a 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck Taiwan. It happened early this morning near Taipei, and it was the strongest earthquake the island has felt in 25 years. Officials say that at least 9 people are dead and more than 900 are injured. The earthquake led to tsunami warnings and evacuations for not just Taiwan, but also parts of Japan and the Philippines. All of those warnings have since been lifted.
As a police dog is hailed as a hero this morning after finding a 3-year-old missing boy in Central Florida. As WESH reporter Pamela Combe reports, the dog is able to track the child's location with the scent left on a blanket.
It's different talk.
This sweet guy deserves to be happy, especially after finding a missing 3-year-old boy Friday morning.
He was dragging me through the woods he wasn't going to stop.
While now it's all fun and games, when it comes to his job, Midnight gets it done. DeLand Police Corporal Damon Clark says all he had to do was give him a sniff of the 3-year-old's blanket and then send him off.
I would say we were on the ground probably 45 minutes or so, which feels like hours and hours and hours when you're being dragged behind the dog through the woods.
Corporal Clark says he was full of cuts and scrapes, but despite the challenging terrain, Midnight was successful.
He was in this little thicket of, it was very thick. The dog was actually able to get to him much quicker than I was because I'm getting caught up on vines and trees and shrubbery and stuff like that.
The 3-year-old would often play in the woods, which is why Clark says he likely wandered off, but he got lost. Thankfully, the boy had his tablet and stayed in one spot, making it easier to track him down. When Midnight found him, he was very excited.
By the time I got back there, he's licking the little boy's face and he's all over the little boy, and he's looking back at me like, hey, I got it, here it is.
And of course, Midnight was rewarded with a burger and one of his favorite toys, but none of this would have happened without the help of Clark.
I'm the dumb end of the leash, so he does all the work. My job is just to read him, read his body language, and understand what he's telling me because obviously he can't talk.
Clark helped Midnight retrace his steps whenever he lost track of the boy's scent. At one point, the dog also had to get another sniff of the blanket to make sure he was on the right track. The two work well together. Clark knows to be successful, he has to pay attention to the dog's needs. Reporting in DeLand, Pamela Combe.
International outrage this morning as 7 aid workers, 6 of whom were foreign, were killed by an Israeli drone strike in Gaza. World Central Kitchen, the organization carrying out the mission, says that the IDF was informed of the convoy. This is not the first time Israel has been accused of impending the strike of aid in Gaza. Back in February, it was also blamed for the shelling of a UN convoy.
People. Any international or European organization that comes to aid Gaza will be targeted. They want to send a message of don't come and let the people die.
World Central Kitchen has had a prominent presence in Gaza, assisting with the construction of the pier on the coastline last month and planning a convoy to eventually build soup kitchens within the enclave.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a new bill into law last month where minors of 13 cannot hold social media accounts, and those aged 14 and 15 do need parental consent. The real question is regarding how teens feel about this change. Caplin News reporter Ivana Ilowski gives us a closer look at how they feel about this new law.
A new bill has been signed into law here in Florida. HB 3 will prohibit minors of 13 or less from becoming account holders. Those of age 14 or 15 will need parental consent. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis believes Instagram, TikTok, and other media platforms are harming children in many ways. But we don't know how teens feel about this change. This bill was signed on Monday, March 25th of 2024. Besides prohibiting minors from becoming account holders without consent, social media companies are also required to delete existing accounts from users in this age range. Those who fail to do so could face lawsuits from parents, guardian, and others.
I agree with parents having the control over children's social media because I feel like on social media it really it can show like a lot of things that aren't necessarily meant to be shown for like a person of that age.
Companies that fail to make these changes will be responsible for up to $50,000 per violation, as well as lawyer fees and court expenses. However, this doesn't stop companies from speaking up. A coalition of social media platforms called NetChoice stated that this new law violates the First Amendment.
I think this new law is pretty fair because at our age, I think it's very important to have control. Since I'm 15 years old, I think it's very important for my parents to see what I'm doing, and if I was younger, I'd expect the same thing.
DeSantis also decided to veto a more restrictive version of the bill, making a requirement to have some sort of identification when registering for a social media account, making it almost impossible for teenagers under 16 years old to become part of any platform, unless they have their parents' consent.
Specific number of age, it's probably not a very the best criteria to suggest whether the kids can use social media or not, because kids develop at different pace. They may have different level of maturity.
This new law is set to take effect in January of 2025. There's still a long road ahead of us, and we'll see what prevails. Reporting for Caplin News, I'm Ivana Ilowski.
After decades of the same price, a Dollar Tree in South Florida is looking to buck the trend this morning. Shoppers in Palm Beach County just learned that they'll soon be seeing prices as high as $7 on some items. And it's not just here. Dollar Tree recently announced that prices will rise at 3,000 locations nationwide. Scott Kolak is a regular shopper at the Dollar Tree in West Palm Beach.
If it were really going to go up to like $7, $5 to even $7, it'd be too much. I'd rather just get everything at Walmart.
The price hike is set to take effect nationwide soon as the discount retailer deals with rising wholesale prices.
A taste of the Keys without leaving Miami-Dade. Capital News reporter Isabella Menendez checks out a local fish restaurant that's getting some national attention.
Just off the Turnpike's exit 19 on 120th Street, there lies a small seafood restaurant, Freshco Fish Market and Grill, that's making big moves, recently being named one of the top seafood restaurants of the United States.
Freshco Fish Market and Grill opened in 2018, and it was the only South Florida restaurant that made the list for Yelp's top 100 seafood spots in 2024. This wasn't the only award they've received, as they were also named the best seafood restaurant in Florida 2022 by Eat This, Not That.
Magnified our what we got by 10, because there's a lot of good seafood restaurants in South Florida.
Right.
And to be the only one listed was like, wow. Now I'm beginning to think it's not a coincidence. We're on to something really good.
From crab cakes to groupers, all of Freshco's plates are fresh and authentic.
Our concept, it sells itself. And it is, you walk in, you're gonna look at a display, you're gonna see the fish, the kitchen is open, you're gonna see us pull right out of that display, and we're gonna cook for you.
Starting off as a quick, small takeout place to quickly expanding to a small restaurant, Palazon and his team plan on expanding their restaurant further and opening up a brand new location.
We are currently building our new store, which is going to be 3,600 square feet in downtown Doral. We're excited to be there. There's a lot of great restaurants there.
Make sure to follow Freshco Fish on both Instagram and Facebook to hear about all the updates on their new location coming in summer 2024 in Doral. Reporting for the Caplin News, I'm Isabella Menendez.
The Miami Marlins still without a win, looking for revenge against the Los Angeles Angels.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
Brunson Boston on the run, and the Heat in the driver's seat.
The Heat trying to move up in the playoffs with a familiar foe standing in their way. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an effort
to get to know each other
on a deeper level. Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
A rivalry game at the Kaseya Center as the Heat play host to the New York Knicks. With 2 more weeks left in the NBA season, the playoff race is heating up for the Miami Heat.
Last night's game against the Knicks had a huge playoff implications for both teams. The Knicks beat the Heat twice this year, but the Miami got it done this time. Winning 109-99, they now stand 2 games behind the 5th seed. The Heat will battle on reigning MVP Joel Embiid and his Philadelphia 76ers tomorrow.
Another playoff race that is heating up in the NHL, but the Panthers seem to be stuck in neutral. The Panthers headed up north to clash with the Montreal Canadiens. Nick Suzuki left Florida in the dust with 2 goals as Montreal upset the Panthers 5-3. The second-seeded Cats remain ice cold as they have lost 8 of their last 10 games. They will stay in Canada and battle the Ottawa Senators tomorrow.
While the Cats have been ice cold, no one has been colder than the Marlins, as they've lost their first 5 games to start the year. The struggles continued last night as the Marlins bat went ice cold until the 9th, when Brian De La Cruz smashed a homer, but it didn't matter since the Angels won 3-1 and handed the Miami their 6th loss, which marks the worst start in franchise history for the Fish. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
Really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes.
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Go get one. Another satisfied customer. Stop by PantherTech in the Graham Center at FIU MMC today to speak with one of our associates to get your free tablet.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Valentina Gaspari.
I'm Jason Harrod. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fau.edu.
Just off the Turnpike's exit 19 on 120th Street, there lies a small seafood restaurant. Just off the Turnpike's exit 19 on 120th Street, there lies a small seafood restaurant. Freshco Fish.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami. This is Caplin News.